I slammed the drawer shut, the check trembling in my hands. My daughter's voice sliced through the kitchen air, sharp enough to cut bone. "So, Mom, happy with the insurance money? What are you gonna do now?" I know what you're probably thinking. That had to be the coldest question a daughter could ever ask her mom. But that's just how my life has unraveled lately. My name is Madeleine Carter. Most people call me Maddie, and I used to believe I was the glue that held my little family together. Until the accident. Until the whispers. For years, I worked the night shift in the ER, the kind of job that teaches you two things. People break, sometimes for no good reason, and secrets always come out. I thought those lessons were for my patients. Now they're for me. I'm 49, a widow, and according to half the people in town, maybe something worse. Before the insurance check arrived, I was just Tom Carter's wife, Lexi's mom, the woman who made the best pie at church socials. But after Tom died, all anyone wanted to talk about was money. If you're watching this, you probably know what it feels like to lose the people you rely on most, even if they're still standing right in front of you. I always told myself I'd never be the kind of woman who needed anyone's pity. Now I'm not sure what I need, except the truth. She leaned against the counter, arms folded, eyebrows raised, just like her father used to. For a split second I wanted to throw the check at her and scream. What did she think this was? A prize? Did she really believe this money could fill the hole that her father, my husband, left behind? But I bit my tongue. If there's one thing I'd learned this past year, it's that grief isn't just about missing someone. It's about surviving the suspicions, the lies, and the dark spaces you never thought you'd find inside your own family. I never wanted this money, Lexi. My voice barely reached her. She let out a bitter laugh. You cashed it pretty quick. I spun to face her, crumpling the check into my fist. The kitchen table was still set for 3. I couldn't bring myself to clean away Tom's chair. Is that what you think of me? That I, rigged the brakes and waited for the policy papers to come? Lexi's jaw worked. That's what Uncle Rick is saying. And Aunt Cheryl. And Jamie at school. Everyone's got their own theory, Mom. But you sure didn't waste time paying off every bill in the house. I felt like I was drowning. Your father wanted us to be okay. I was just trying to. She shook her head, her anger a shield for her pain. Just forget it. I'm going out. When the door slammed, I pressed my forehead against the fridge and let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. I hated the money. Hated that every time I paid a bill, or filled the fridge, or even turned the heat up an extra inch, someone would say I was living too well. Hated that Lexi looked at me like I was a stranger. An enemy. Was this what my life was supposed to become? Suspicion, whispers, a daughter who couldn't look me in the eyes? I walked down the hall and ran my fingers along Tom's coat. The scent was fading, cedar and old aftershave, a little worn leather. My chest tightened. No one besides me had ever known that he'd only taken out the policy after Lexi got sick last year. No one but me and him. Now he was gone, and all I had left was a bank balance, a grave, and a home full of ghosts. The first week after Tom's accident, the house was a blur of casseroles, fake hugs, and nosy neighbors. Rick hovered close, offering to help review the finances, as if I was about to hand him the keys to everything Tom had worked for. Cheryl, my sister-in-law, came by every other day, eyes darting between the hearth and the counter. You know, Maddie, that policy was meant to set the family up, not just you and Lexi. Tom always wanted to make sure we all had something. She said it so gently, but I saw the avarice glinting beneath her mascara. The kind of hunger people get when they think they're owed a taste of other people's good fortune. I smiled through clenched teeth, offered her leftover pie, and watched her scan the kitchen like she already owned the place. It didn't stop at family. The insurance agent, Mrs. Carr, called 3 times just to confirm some details. It was always the same questions. Had Tom shown signs of stress? Was he acting odd? Had we made any changes to the car? The way she wrote down every word made me want to smash the phone. At night when the house was finally quiet and Lexi was asleep, I'd sit at the kitchen table, pen in hand, trying to write thank you cards. Every time I'd get stuck on the same thought. Had Tom really just slipped, or was there something he needed to tell me before he died? Why didn't I see it coming? Why did I feel so guilty every time I paid for something we needed? One evening, After a particularly tense dinner, Lexi cornered me as I rinsed dishes. She kept her voice low enough that the neighbors wouldn't overhear from the open window. I heard Dad arguing on the phone the week before. With someone about money. How come you never told me? I turned, the water still running. Because I didn't know. He was always private with finances after you got sick. He never wanted us to worry. She pursed her lips. That's not what his texts show. She slid her phone across the table, and I read through a string of angry messages between Tom and someone labeled just Victor. Demands, threats about paying what you owe or else people show up at your wife's work. Ist her, Zeit. I didn't know. She stared back. None of this feels like an accident, Mom. None of it. I stayed up late that night, cleaning counters, refolding towels. I pulled out all Tom's paperwork, searching for anything I might have missed. Debts, hidden bills, emails, anything to help me understand what was happening. There was a letter from the insurance company marked urgent that I'd overlooked. It had been slid under old tax returns. Inside it read, "Additional beneficiary appeal under review. Respond by March 15th. I frowned. The only beneficiaries Tom ever named were Lexi and me. I grabbed my phone, called the agency, and spent an hour listening to hold music before someone answered. The rep wouldn't tell me much. Just that someone else had made a claim. Someone named Rachel Miller. My hands shook. I didn't know a Rachel Miller. But the letter was sent 2 weeks before Tom died. I tried calling Lexi, but she didn't answer. I wondered if she'd gone looking for answers on her own. The next morning, I walked to the garage to get Tom's old files. I found the door pried open, a mess of papers on the ground. Someone had come for something, and I didn't even know what was missing. That was when I realized I wasn't just the accused. I was under attack. My heart pounded as I knelt in the garage, sifting through the scattered papers. Tom's old receipts, his toolbox, a half-empty bottle of motor oil tipped over like it had been kicked. Who would break in here? For what? The check was safe in the house, and the money hadn't even hit the bank yet. I grabbed my phone and dialed the police, but my fingers shook so bad I had to try 3 times. Someone's been in my garage, I told the dispatcher, my voice cracking. Papers everywhere. I think they were looking for something. The officer who showed up was young, barely out of training, with a notepad and a skeptical tilt to his head. "Ma'am, any signs of forced entry besides the door? Valuables missing." I pointed to the pry marks on the frame. "Just this. And Tom's files, they're all over the floor. He died 3 weeks ago. Car accident on the highway." He nodded, writing it down, but his eyes flicked to the insurance letter still clutched in my hand. "We'll dust for prints. But with the talk around town, you might want to change your locks." Talk around town. Of course. By noon, the whole neighborhood knew the cops had been at my place. Cheryl was the first to call, her voice dripping with false concern. "Maddie, oh honey, are you okay? I heard about the break-in. Did they take anything important?" "Nothing I can tell," I said, forcing calm. "Just mess things up." She paused, then, with Tom's policy and all. People get desperate. Maybe it's connected. I gripped the phone tighter. "What are you saying, Cheryl?" "Nothing. Just be careful. Rick's worried about you and Lexi. Alone in that house." Rick. My brother-in-law, Tom's older brother, the one who'd always eyed Tom's success like it was his own failure. After the funeral, he'd cornered me in the receiving line, whispering, "If you need help with the estate, I'm here. Family first, right? Family first." That's what Tom always said. But now it felt like a curse. Lexi came home late that afternoon, her backpack slung low. Eyes red from crying or lack of sleep. I couldn't tell. She dropped it by the door and stared at me. "Cops were here? What happened?" "Someone broke in. Went through Tom's stuff." She crossed her arms. "Let me guess, they think you did it to hide something?" "No, Lexi. They think. I don't know what they think." She snorted. "Everyone thinks you're hiding something. I went to the library today, looked up Dad's accident report online. The brakes failed, but the mechanic said they were fine last month." "Who last worked on the car, Mom?" I sank into the couch. "Your father. He was always tinkering." Or someone else? She pulled out her phone again, scrolling. And this Victor guy in his texts, he's Dad's old business partner. They had a falling out over money. What if Victor's behind this? Or, what if Dad owed him and you knew? Lexi, stop. My voice broke. I didn't know about Victor. I swear. She looked at me, really looked, and for a second, I saw the little girl who used to climb into my lap after nightmares. But then her face hardened. Then why won't you talk to the insurance people about that other claim? Rachel Miller. Who is she? I froze. I'd been avoiding that call all day. I don't know yet. But I'm going to find out. That night, after Lexi locked herself in her room, I sat at Tom's desk in the den, the computer screen glowing blue in the dark. I typed Rachel Miller into the search bar, heart racing. Pages of results. A teacher in Ohio, a lawyer in Texas, nothing local. Then, buried in Tom's old emails, I'd never checked his work account before, I found it. An exchange from 6 months ago. Tom to Rachel. I can't keep sending money. It's killing us. Lexi's treatments are draining everything. Rachel back. You promised. After what we did or didn't do, I'm entitled. Or do I tell Maddie everything? My stomach dropped. What we did. Tom had an affair? Or worse. I scrolled further, finding bank transfers, thousands over 2 years. To Rachel Miller, an address just 2 towns over. I slammed the laptop shut, tears burning my eyes. Tom, my Tom, who brought me coffee in bed, who coached Lexi's soccer team. How could he hide this? And what did Rachel mean by tell Maddie everything? The next morning, I drove to that address, a small apartment complex on the edge of the city. My hands shook on the wheel, but I had to know. I knocked on door 12B, and a woman answered. Mid-40s, blonde hair in a messy bun, eyes narrowing when she saw me. Mrs. Miller? I asked. Who's asking? Madeleine Carter. Tom's wife. Her face paled, then hardened. He told me you didn't know. What do you want? The truth. The money. The accident. She laughed, bitter. Truth? Your husband owed me. We had a deal. Insurance payout split if anything happened to him. He backed out. Said he couldn't go through with it. Go through with it. My blood ran cold. You mean you tampered with his car? She stepped closer, voice low. I didn't touch a thing. But Victor? He was furious. Tom cut him out. Check his alibi. I backed away, mind reeling. Stay away from my family. As I drove home, my phone buzzed. Lexi. Mom, where are you? Aunt Cheryl's here. She says the insurance is freezing the payout because of the other claim. By the time I got back, Cheryl was in the living room, papers spread on the coffee table. Maddie, sit down. We need to talk about this Rachel woman. Lexi stood behind her, arms crossed. Yeah, Mom. Spill. I took a breath, the weight of it all crashing down. She's someone from Tom's past. He was sending her money. For Lexi's sake, maybe? I don't know. Cheryl's eyes lit up. Past? Like an affair? Oh, Maddie, I'm so sorry. But this changes everything. The policy, Tom named contingencies. If there's fraud, it goes to the family trust. Rick and I, we could help manage it. Manage it. I snapped. You mean take it? Lexi stepped forward. Mom, if Dad was involved in something shady, the money's tainted. We should give it back. Give it back to who? The people trying to destroy us. My voice rose, tears spilling. Your father died for this family, Lexi. For you. She flinched. And you? What did you do for him? The room spun. Cheryl gathered her papers, murmuring about lawyers. Lexi stormed out. I was alone again, the walls closing in. That evening, another call, from Mrs. Carr at the insurance agency. Mrs. Carter, we've received a formal challenge to the beneficiary status. Rachel Miller claims co-ownership. And there's an investigation into the accident. Police are involved now. Police. The word hung like a noose. I hung up and dialed Rick. What do you know about Victor? A pause. Victor's bad news, Maddie. Tom's old partner. They fought over a deal gone south. Why? Because someone mentioned him. And Rachel. Are you hiding something? He laughed, nervous. Me? I'm just trying to protect the family. Come over tomorrow. We'll sort this. I didn't sleep. Flashes of Tom. Laughing at dinner. Kissing my forehead. Whispering he loved me. Lies. All of it. The next day at Rick's house, he and Cheryl sat me down with coffee and documents. Look, Maddie, Rick said, sliding a folder over. Tom invested with Victor years ago. Lost big. Victor's been hounding us all. Us. I echoed. Cheryl nodded. Tom borrowed from the family to cover it. That's why the policy was so high, to pay everyone back. I flipped through the pages. IOUs, signatures. Tom's. Why didn't he tell me? Pride, Rick said. Men like him, they fix things alone. Lexi texted then. At school. Heard from Jamie. Cops questioned Dad's mechanic. Brakes were cut. My world tilted. Cut. Not failed. Sabotage. I stood. If Victor did this. Cheryl grabbed my arm. We can prove it. But you need to sign this. Releases the trust to us. For Lexi's sake. For Lexi's sake. The words twisted like a knife. I yanked away. No. I'm finding Victor myself. Driving to Victor's office, a dingy strip mall on the outskirts, I rehearse what I'd say. Confront him. Demand answers. But when I walked in, the receptionist shook her head. Mr. Hargrove? He cleared out last week. After Tom's accident. Cleared out. Fled. Back home. Lexi was waiting, face pale. Mom, I talked to Rachel. She called the school. You what? Panic surged. She said Dad promised her half. For getting rid of you in the divorce. But he changed his mind. Getting rid of me. The room blurred. Tom wanted me gone? Or was it her lie? I don't believe her, Lexi whispered. But what if? We sat on the couch, her head on my shoulder for the first time in weeks. I miss him, Mom. But this, it's breaking us. Tears fell. It's breaking me too. But we'll fight. Together. That night, a knock. Rick holding a box. Tom's safe deposit key. Found it in his car after the tow. Thought you should have it. Inside the bank vault, the box held more horrors. Photos of Tom and Rachel, intimate. A note. If anything happens, protect Maddie and Lexi. Victor knows too much. Too much. About what? As I drove home, tires screeching around a corner, a car tailgated me, black sedan, no plates. I floored it, heart slamming. Until I lost them at a light. Paranoia? Or real danger? Lexi met me at the door. Mom, the police called. They're coming tomorrow. Rachel filed a statement. Says you threatened Tom before he died. Threatened? Me? I collapsed against the wall. This ends now. But it was just beginning. The real betrayal was closer than I thought. The police arrived the next morning. 2 detectives in plain clothes, badges glinting under the porch light. Detective Hale, the older one with gray at his temples, flipped open a notebook. Mrs. Carter, we need to talk about your husband's accident. And that insurance claim. I led them to the living room, my hands clasped to stop the shaking. Lexi hovered in the doorway, biting her lip. What's this about? I asked. Hale glanced at his partner, a woman named Ruiz. Rachel Miller filed a report. Says you confronted her yesterday. Threatened her over the beneficiary dispute. Threatened? I echoed, voice rising. I went to her apartment for answers. About the money Tom sent her. She admitted to some deal with him, something shady. But I didn't threaten anyone. Ruiz leaned forward. She says otherwise. And we've got witnesses saying you argued with Tom the night before the crash. About finances. Lexi stepped in. That's not fair. Mom was just trying to protect us. Hale's eyes softened on her. Miss Carter, we need your statement too. Did you know about Rachel? She hesitated, glancing at me. I talked to her. She called me. Said Dad promised her half the policy for leaving Mom. The room went silent. Hale jotted notes. Leaving? Divorce. Or worse, Lexi whispered. She implied Dad wanted Mom out of the picture. I felt the blood drain from my face. That's a lie. Tom loved me. Loved us. Ruiz stood. We'll need access to his phone records. And yours, Mrs. Carter. For now, don't contact Ms. Miller. As they left, Lexi turned on me. Why didn't you tell me you went to see her? What if you made it worse? I was trying to fix this, I snapped. For you. For me? Or for the money? Her words hung, sharp as glass. Then she softened, tears welling. I'm scared, Mom. What if Dad really did something terrible? I pulled her close, but she stiffened. The first crack in our fragile truce. That afternoon, Cheryl showed up unannounced, her purse bulging with more documents. Maddie, the detectives called Rick. This is bad. Rachel's pushing for a full audit. I blocked the door. What do you want, Cheryl? To help. She pushed past, spreading papers on the table. Sign this. Releases the payout to the trust. Rick and I can fight Rachel. Keep it in the family. Family, I scoffed. You mean your share? She flinched. Tom was my brother-in-law. I cared about him. Unlike whoever this Rachel is. Lexi walked in then, eavesdropping. Aunt Cheryl, did you know about Victor? Cheryl's eyes widened. Victor's ancient history. Tom's old partner. They split bad over a bad investment. Bad enough for murder? I pressed. She gathered her things. Don't be dramatic. Just sign, Maddie. Before the cops freeze everything. After she left, Lexi and I sat in silence. Mom, she said finally. I found something in Dad's email. From Victor. Dated the day before the accident. She showed me the screen. Tom, last chance. Pay up or the brakes on your life go out. Permanently. My stomach twisted. We have to tell the police. But Lexi shook her head. What if it's a setup? Rachel could have sent it to frame you. Frame me. The word echoed. That night, as rain hammered the roof, my phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Carter? Victor Hargrove. We need to meet. Meet? About what? Tom's debt. And Rachel. She's not who you think. His voice was gravelly urgent. Park by the old mill midnight. Come alone. I hung up, heart racing. Trap. Or truth. I didn't tell Lexi. Slipped out while she slept. The wipers slashing through the storm. The mill loomed dark, abandoned. Headlights cut the fog, a pickup truck. Victor stepped out, hooded jacket dripping. You're early, he said, lighting a cigarette. Good. Means you're smart. What do you want? I stayed by my car. He exhaled smoke. Tom owed me $50K from our deal. He paid some through Rachel. She was his go-between. Kept it off books. Rachel? Why her? Old flame. From before you. Tom used her to hide the cash. But she got greedy. Started demanding more. Threatened to tell you everything. Everything. My voice cracked. Victor's eyes narrowed. The accident wasn't me. But I know who. Cheryl. Cheryl. Laughter bubbled, hysterical. My sister-in-law? She hated Tom. Blamed him for Rick's failures. Found out about the debt, the affair. Tampered with the brakes herself. Wanted the insurance to bail Rick out. Proof? Why tell me? Because Rachel's pinning it on you. And Cheryl's got Rick convinced you're unstable. Sign the trust over, or they take it all. I backed away. I need proof. He tossed a flash drive. Recordings. Tom's voice, admitting the affair. And Cheryl's calls to the mechanic. Lightning cracked as I drove home, the drive burning in my pocket. But doubt not, was Victor clean? Morning brought chaos. Police again, this time with a warrant. Searching for evidence of fraud, Mrs. Carter. They tore through drawers, Tom's desk. Lexi watched, furious. This is harassment. Hale pulled me aside. Rachel recanted her threat claim. But we found tampered brake fluid in the salvage yard. Someone sabotaged the car. Relief flooded me. Cheryl. He shook his head. Too early. But Victor Hargrove's in custody. Assault charges from a bar fight. Says you met him last night. Lexi's eyes met mine, accusatory. You went. Alone. I had to, I whispered. She stormed upstairs. You're just like Dad, keeping secrets. The words hit like a slap. Alone in the kitchen, I plugged in the drive. Tom's voice filled the room. Maddie, if you hear this. I'm sorry. The money's dirty. Rachel was a mistake. Protect Lexi. Tears streamed. Then Cheryl's voice. Tom, pay up or I tell her. And the car, it'll be easy. Betrayal burned. But who to trust now? That evening, Rick called. Maddie, family meeting. Our house. Now. I arrived to find Cheryl, Rick, and shockingly, Rachel, all seated like a tribunal. Lexi was there too, face pale. What's this? I demanded. Rick stood. Intervention. Cheryl told us about Victor. The meeting. You're unraveling, Maddie. Unraveling. I laughed bitterly. Listen to this. I played the recording. Silence. Then Cheryl's face crumpled. That's edited. Tom never. Rachel interrupted. It's real. I was there. But Cheryl didn't do it. I did. Gasps. Lexi stood. You. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. Tom promised me half. For the affair, the child I lost because of stress from his lies. When he backed out, I cut the lines. But I regret it. The room exploded. Rick lunged at her. Murderer. I grabbed Lexi. We call the police. But Rachel bolted, shoving past me. Chaos, Rick chasing, Cheryl screaming. In the fray, Lexi turned to me, voice breaking. Mom, is any of this true? Dad and you? Did you know? The accusation hung. Our first true fracture. No. Isubat. But I have to end this. As sirens wailed closer, Cheryl cornered me. You ruin everything. The money was ours. Her confession sealed it. But the damage to Lexi, to us, was just starting. The sirens grew louder, piercing the night like accusations. Rick tackled Rachel in the driveway, his shout echoing off the houses. You killed my brother. Cheryl wailed from the porch, clutching her phone as she dialed 911 again. Lexi clung to me, her body shaking against mine, but her eyes, those eyes that mirrored Tom's, held a storm of doubt. I pulled her back inside, away from the frenzy. Lexi, listen. None of this is what it seems. Your father. He made mistakes, but he loved us. She wrenched free, tears streaming. Loved us. Or loved her. The recordings, Mom, the affair, the money. How do I know you didn't push him into it? Or worse, know about the breaks and do nothing? Her words landed like a punch to the gut. This was it. The shattering I feared. The moment our bond cracked wide open. I reached for her, but she stepped back. I suspected you from the start. The way you cashed that check so fast. Happy with the insurance money? Yeah, right. Lexi. No. My voice broke, raw and desperate. I didn't know. I loved him too. But this Rachel, Cheryl, they're the poison. Not me. She turned away, sobs racking her. I need time. Alone. The police swarmed in then, cuffing Rachel as she screamed denials. It was self-defense. Tom was going to leave me out. Rick was restrained, yelling about justice. Cheryl collapsed into Hale's arms, babbling about family loyalty twisted wrong. They took statements in the living room, the air thick with flashlights and questions. Hale pulled me aside. Mrs. Carter, Rachel's confessing partially, says she cut the lines after Tom ended things. But she claims Cheryl paid her to do it, to frame you for the payout. Cheryl. I glanced at her, huddled on the couch, face buried. Ruiz Nadith. We've got the flash drive. Victor's testimony matches. He turned state's evidence for immunity. Says Cheryl approached him months ago, desperate after Rick's business tanked. Wanted the insurance to cover their debts. Rick overheard, lunging again. Liar. Cheryl would never. But she looked up, eyes hollow. Rick. I did it for us. Tom owed you. The family. Not her. She pointed at me, venom spilling. She got everything. The house, the girl, the money. We got scraps. Lexi, from the stairs, gasped. Aunt Cheryl? You killed Uncle Tom. Cheryl's confession poured out then, broken and furious. It was supposed to look like an accident. Rachel did the work, for a cut. Victor supplied the threats to scare Tom into paying up first. But when he refused, the breaks were the only way. The room erupted. Cuffs on Cheryl, Miranda rights read. Rick stared, betrayed. Why didn't you tell me? For you, she whispered. Always for you. As they led her away, Rachel twisted in her grip. And the claim? That was my insurance. Tom promised half for our baby. The one he made me lose with his stress, his lies. Baby. The word hung, twisting the knife deeper. Tom had a whole other life. I sank to the floor, the weight crushing. Hale Kunet. Mrs. Carter, you're clear. The investigation's over. Payout's yours clean. But victory tasted like ash. Lexi descended slowly, eyes red. Mom, is it true? About the baby? I nodded, throat tight. I don't know everything. But I know he came home to us every night. That's what matters. She knelt beside me, tentative. I'm sorry. For doubting. For the question that started this. We hugged then, fierce and forgiving, the first real embrace in months. The police cleared out, leaving echoes. Days blurred into hearings. Rachel pled guilty to manslaughter, Cheryl to conspiracy and fraud. Rick, shocked into silence, sold their house and vanished. Cut off from the family trust I'd fought to dissolve. Victor got his deal, but the recordings sealed fates. The insurance money? I donated most, to Lexi's old hospital for kids like her. The rest paid for therapy, a fresh start. No more ghosts in the kitchen. One night, months later, Lexi and I sat at that table, now set for two. Mom, she said, that day I asked about the money. I was hurting. Scared you'd move on without Dad. Without me. I squeezed her hand. We moved together. Always. She smiled, real and warm. Yeah, we do. If this story hit home, if you've ever faced family secrets, betrayal, or the ache of doubt, hit that like button. It means the world to stories like mine getting out there. Drop a comment. What's the hardest question your family ever asked you? And subscribe for more real talk tales of survival and truth. You're not alone in this.